Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock, a channel for megalithic fans with a megalithic lens. Ellora cave site is such a long stretch of caves for three religions that at some point in history, Hindus, Buddhists and Jains converged here for worship. Today, we are going to explore Cave 25 to Cave 28 and see if ancient Indians actually built this or someone else was here first. These four caves stretch 130 meters or 427 feet across Velganga River. It is believed that the Kalachuri dynasty was responsible for these Hindu temples. Archaeologists say they chiseled the caves about 1,200 years to 1,400 years ago. I am more cautious about that because there isn't any rock-solid evidence and locals knew nothing what happened here. So let's start with Cave 25, which is also called Kumbawada Cave. From an aerial view, it looks like there isn't much to see. The open sky courtyard seems unimpressive. There are 4 pillars and 2 pilasters at the entrance. You enter into a big hall measuring 29 meters or 95 feet wide. There is a huge amount of bedrock hollowed out all the way to the end where you can find a sanctum with a yoni without a linga. This broken yoni is unique because it is partially merged onto the wall. My megalithic lens tells me that there is a huge amount of work to be done prior to shaping the cave temple on the inside. Vertically, there is an enormous amount of bedrock to remove. Horizontally, there is an enormous amount of bedrock to remove. I wonder why would anyone do that when they can just start from the edge of the bedrock. More than half the work was done on the outside when all they want is a 14 feet high rectangular hole with a partial yoni on the inside. There is also a depiction of Surya, who is the sun god, on a chariot drawn by 7 horses. Scholars are not sure whose cave is it for, but for now, I'm sure ancient Indians took out a lot of bedrock and hid them somewhere. It is normal to have water tanks near a megalithic site. This water tank would have been a baptismal pool if it is in Israel. But actually, it has a lot to do with absorbing negative energy so that one is left with positive energy before entering a holy place. The moat object in the yellow box is also another thing that is worth investigating. Normally, moats are for protection from enemies. So logically, temples do not need moats. It is assumed there was or supposed to be a Nandi in the moat, but I highly doubt that is the case. If you look at Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom in Cambodia, the moats are unnecessary for a temple, but yet it is extremely big even with today's technology. Then you have barrays, which is basically water tanks. I am very sure a moat temple and a water tank has to do with energy at a spiritual level. A megalithic temple in a moat is an ancient architecture common in Cambodia. A moat temple with a water tank is less common. But the same concept in India proves Hindu cave temples and Buddhist megalithic temples in Cambodia were made by the same unknown ancient builders we know nothing. Cave 26 has a large hall 5 meters or 16 feet high with an inner section that has a shrine. The width of the hall is about 34 meters or 112 feet and the depth from front to the end of the inner section is about 20 meters or 66 feet. This is an impressive amount of bedrock that went missing, including the triangular block from the front yard. There are 2 chapels on both sides right after you step through the 4 pillars. but the pillars have tool marks created by the unknown ancient megalithic builders, random rectangular holes, and a vertical gear track that seems out of place. The shrine is guarded by two dwarapalas with a dwarf on each side. There is a yoni linga on the inside. In summary, I cannot understand the logic of the work done. The amount of work on the courtyard doesn't make sense if they only want a 29-meter wide main hall and an 18-meter wide inner hall with 8 pillars. Look at this basalt cliff with 90-degree drop. Where would you start carving if you want to have a place to worship on a regular basis? Well, the ancient Indians decided to start somewhere in the middle, not too high and not too low, and they started off with a tool that can scrape off the surface to get a nicer fresh inner layer. I explained that in earlier videos for Cave 3. Then, a machine-cut straight line was made as shown in the yellow line. Without proper modern paths and concrete steps to reach this cave, you will find that getting here is not even easy for anyone. At the entrance, you will be greeted by 4 octagonal pillars with mysterious gear tracks on the top. You can find those gear track tool marks at Prison of Socrates in Greece, which is unmistakably made by the same unknown ancient builders. If you visit Yungan grottos in China, you can find the same gear tracks too. You can actually find them at megalithic sites all over the world. The mysterious builders left their true marks hidden in plain sight. At Cave 27, Trimurti of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva welcomes you from the outside into a hall where you can see some torture holes as mentioned in Cave 1. The main hall is about 17 meters or 56 feet wide by 7 meters or 23 feet deep. Very impressive work of ancient soft chisel, if that is even possible. Cave 28 is very small by comparison, but it is still very impressive that ancient Indians created this on a cliff. A small shrine with 2 dwarapalas and lots of questions in my head. There are 2 lines cut across the wall like they were clay. I wonder what is the story. Try and imagine this cliff without modern pathway for tourists. It will be too dangerous to work on, considering you need to hold a hammer on the right hand and a soft chisel on the left hand. How is this an excellent spot for Cave 28 is something I will never understand. There are other caves and niches that make you wonder where would you start if you were to continue where they left 1,000 years ago. How would you plan to manage the rubble? Would you haul them somewhere no one can find or just throw them off the cliff? Try and imagine the rationale of having a temple cut into a basalt bedrock from middle of a cliff without first making proper access. If that is logical to you, then how and why did ancient Indians cut the bedrock on the top? Can anyone make sense of the long straight cut way above the cave? If you cannot see a straight machine cut, that means you are not wearing a megalithic lens. Depending on what season you visit, Sita Ki Nahani waterfall on a rainy season can be an awesome sight to see, while the drought will give you an idea what is at the bottom of Lake Sita Ki Nahani. Well, that's all for now. I hope Cave 25 to Cave 28 will give you a better understanding of the entire site when you visit Ellora Caves during your vacation. This is Bernie Ong signing out. Acha, Jatahen, goodbye.